Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the most difficult trading card games to get into. Since September of 2019, I've been spending £30 a week on sealed products trying to create my own competitive dragon deck from scratch. No trading and no buying individual cards. So far we've spent over £1,000 on packs and achieved a second place regional top, securing an invite to the next European Championship. The ultimate goal is to top one of Yu-Gi-Oh's largest, most competitive events, and this is my journey. You're watching Yu-Gi-Oh! From scratch. Welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! From Scratch, episode 34, the big salad episode. Yes, that's right. Today we're doing things a little bit differently for a breath of fresh air, and we are playing Salamangreat with our sealed only from scratch collection. Just something a little bit different, you know, to make it a little less mundane while we try to pull the exact same cards over and over. Also, in other super big, spicy, sponsored news, the last video I uploaded was actually a Toon Chaos reveal video where I was given my own very special card to show off to the world for the very first time. And that card was Chaos Space. If you haven't seen that video or you've missed a notification or something, then the link will be in the description. I highly recommend you go and watch it. The card is insane, especially for our deck. It's better than Seafort, so we definitely need 3 of those. It's always great working with Konami on these exclusive reveals, and it's always really exciting putting out this kind of content for you guys, and it just wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all the support you guys show the channel, so I thank you for that, which perfectly segues into the Patreon shoutouts. So, extra special thanks, of course, going out to Jack Daniels, Marinder Black, Mad World, Gabe Miles, Alice Azure, Devin Diaz, David, Leo Alex 50, Shipping, FUBF Ibame, and Z3DT. All of these guys have made a contribution to the channel through either Patreon or YouTube channel memberships, and will now go X0 in their next remote dual locals. They do look kinda nice though. If you want to make your own contribution, links are as always, of course, in the description. Now, we have a fresh budget to spend, and I'm sure we all know what we're looking for by now, so that's going to be no surprise to you. So let's dive right in. Right, 30 more squiddos to spend on cardboard here, and you did actually give me the green light to buy Megatin 2016 packs individually. However, we of course have to wait for them to arrive, and so instead we have the last 5 packs I own of Breakers of Shadow. Now, something I didn't know, or I did know previously like a long time ago but had since forgotten, is that Breakers of Shadow, when it came out, the first edition booster boxes were actually mapped. All of the holos were in the same spot, so people would go in, they would take out all the secrets and ultras, and then sell the rest of the packs with nothing in them. And a lot of people have been suggesting that that's what's been happening with our Breakers of Shadow here. But we've been pulling ultras, so I really don't know. So I want to give these a chance, see if we pull a secret, and if not, then we have the mega packs coming in. So that's 5 of those, £3 each, £15. We have 2 packs here of Eternity Code, of course, for £5 in total, bringing the total here for £20. And finally, you'll be pleased to note that it did come in time. We do have the 3rd and final Soul Burner structure deck to play our salads today and get our 3rd Skippy. I have been looking at some Salamangreat lists, and actually we are missing some key pieces, like, well, I guess Desires would be considered a key piece. We don't have any, I don't think. And the extra deck strategy involves Access Code Talker and Transcode Talker, which we don't have either. So we're gonna have to make do with a subpar build of Salamangreat today. We'll substitute in some other things, maybe Burning Draw instead of Desires, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. They're Ash Blossom, of course. 4-Mud Skipper, our 3rd copy, allowing us to bump our deck finally up to 46. But we'll do that in another episode another time, after we pull, of course, our Trap Hole and Deck Mommy 2. Alright, so let's just crack on into Breakers of Shadow. If they are mapped, then of course we shouldn't really pull anything, but I don't know, maybe, hopefully we get an Ultra. I would really like at least 1 secret, because this brings our total up to like at least 24 packs through the whole series of Breakers of Shadow that we've opened. So we have Metagross, Buster Blader versus Buster Dragon. Star Wars, Plesio's, Thick Thighs, Trump Girl, Wizard Buster, Godarla, and our Stormtroopers. So super rare, of course, not really surprising, but at the same time, a little bit disappointing. We will continue the disappointment with our Breakers of Shadow here. Stick 3 to the front just because we can. So Samurai Saga, Dynamic Power Load, Doriado, Harmot in the Dust, Tunin, Ceratops, Thick Thighs again, Arisen Guy the Fierce Knight, and Red Eyes Retro Dragon. I actually love the Red Eyes archetype. I just wish, outside of Dragoon, that the deck was good. Real shame. 2 for 2 on supers so far. Next up, we have a Dynamist Rush, Illumirage, Destruction Swordsman Fusion, Harmot in the Dust, General Coral, Wizard Buster, hey, we got an Ultra, Reject Reborn, and Quaking Mirror Force. Despot 008 at the back there as well, little pink pigtails. Her hair is made out of like raffle tickets, apparently. Yeah, so we got an Ultra, which is pretty cool. Quaking Mirror Force, first edition, Breakers of Shadow. I'll take it, I'll take it. But still no secret, still no secret. Second last pack of Breakers of Shadow here. Well, Dynamist Rex, yep, very cool. Another Destruction Sword, and Performapal Guitartol. How many strings? 6 strings? Okay, I'll let you off. Alright, so we'll open up a Eternity Code pack here. Out of 2 packs, really, what are we gonna get? Can't really expect too much here. So we have a Potato, Megalith Uniformed, a Boat, Sarama, some lanterns hanging off her cloak there, very cool. Parallel Exceed, Big Brain, Peas and Mushrooms, Codebreaker, and an Ultra, oh my god. Dude, Emblem of the Plunder Patrol. Have we not pulled one of these already? I'm pretty sure we have. Okay, well, I guess I'll take that. I didn't expect anything out of 2 packs. So, yep, very cool. Breakers of Shadow here, final pack. Most likely going to be an Ultra because, you know, mapped. So we have Flyballs, Style Synthesis, another Hurricane. Jesus Christ, how many Hurricanes are there in this set? There's so many. General Jade, Melodious Diva, Wizard Buster, Destruction Sword, Timebreaker Magician, and unsurprisingly, another super rare in the form of the Stormtroopers. Alright, so that brings us to the final pack today of Eternity Code. We've pulled an Ultra out of 2 packs, so surely there's nothing in this one. I guess we can hope and pray though. So we have Resonator Command, Ape Escape, Trias Hierarchia. Kind of reminds me of Wingweaver a little bit with the wings. There's 6 wings. King Beast Barbaros, Basila Lima, Buzzsaw Shark, Bowling Ball Fist, Nemesis Adistrate. Oh, yo! We got an Ultra and a Secret in 2 packs. Deep Sea Aria. A very good Mermail, well, not Mermail, Sea Serpent card, but obviously it's he's playing Mermail. But yeah, a Secret and an Ultra out of 2 packs of Eternity Code. I guess our luck is potentially returning, but it's not Gravedigger's Trap Hole. It's not the Secret we want. Not complaining. We got our salads to play today, so let's go try and figure out a deck list for that and see what we can do with it. Right, so before we get into this, it's worth noting that while Salamangreat is a fairly simple deck, it's the complete opposite playstyle to what we're used to. Instead of the whole haha combo mango brrr, we're now having to adapt to a much slower resource game with the win condition of just controlling the match. It's not what I'm used to, so this can only go horribly. As for the list, I think a good place to start is with the most recent top from Gabriel Susi. He got first place in one of the PPG Weekend Championships, and he also won Euros with the deck last year, and he's all round just one of the best Salamangreat players out there, and he also has a YouTube channel, so I'll have the link to that in the description. But getting into his list, it really gives us a solid base to work with in terms of the current format, but the most important thing to take away from this is the fact that it runs 3 Desires, and Salads have pretty much always been running Desires, which kind of skews the ratios compared to what we have to work with, since, you know, we don't have Desires at all in our collection. There's also some key pieces in the extra deck that we don't have that also make Salamangreat good right now, and one of those is Baguska, basically stalling out your opponent and preventing them from doing anything. And then there's the game-ending explosive play of Transcode Talker into Access Code Talker to attack twice with Update Jammer and just wipe the board. So obviously with our deck not being able to do any of that, and without having the consistent normal summons like Flame Buffalo and Lady Debug, it's definitely going to be significantly worse, but it should at least still be able to perform. So getting into it, the from scratch list I have probably very incorrectly come up with, starting with the salad monsters, is 3 Foxy, 2 Jaguar, 2 Spinny, 1 Fowl, 1 Falco, and 1 Gazelle. Then to round off the Cyburst / Salamangreat package, we have 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. I was initially running 3 Skippy in here as well to actually search for the Exceed, but after some very brief testing, it seemed pretty bricky and really cut you off from your Salamangreat resources most of the time, so yeah, I had to get rid of that. For the hand traps here, we have our 1 copy of Phantazmay from episode 5, 3 Nibirus, and of course 3 Ash Blossom. Moving on to the spells, we are of course running 3 Cynet Mining and 3 Will of the Salamangreat. 2 Burning Draw as our draw power. It really doesn't fill the void of desires, especially when you can't use it going first, but it is better than nothing. Then 1 Circle, 1 Sanctuary, 1 Foolish, and 1 Mind Control. So this was originally Fusion of Fire, but then I realized we don't actually have Violet Chimera. So I just swapped it out for a Mind Control, but I am thinking about replacing this with Salamangreat Mole instead, just for the resource game. And finally, for the trap lineup, we have 1 Roar, 1 Rage, 3 Impermanence, and 3 Gozen Match. 40 cards altogether, kind of hoping that it's not a total disaster, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. For the extra deck, we of course have our 3 Balelynx, 3 Sunlight Wolf, and 2 Heatleo for the Salamangreat cards. 1 Hita and 1 Splash Mage, which both generate a free body on the field. Update Jammer, which we actually pulled from Savage Strike all that time ago. Bomber Dragon and Zeraboros to update Jammer into and go for game. Tornado Dragon and Abyss Dweller as our rank 4s. I am kind of edging towards Borreload for one of the rank 4s because Zeraboros and Bomber Dragon kind of do the same thing. It's also better at dealing with things like Avermax, so yeah, I think we'll swap out one of those for Borreload. Boom, so I've chucked the deck into Duel and Book and I've made the changes that I said I would make. I took out the Mind Control for a Salamangreat Mole, and I swapped out a Bomber Dragon for Borreload here as well. For the side deck, we have triple Veiler, double Cyclone, triple Dark Ruler No More, double Twinnies, and an Imperial Order. Double Strike for going first, assuming like Gozen Match isn't useful. And double D Barrier as well, just because I want to try it out as a card. Being able to stop the synchro plays in Halki Fibrax decks and things like that, I think could be pretty nice, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now, as always, we're going to move on here and play some matches against our patrons and YouTube channel members, hopefully taking some people by surprise. Well, before we get into that, I would like to point out that there is a 52.6% chance that you're not subscribed to the channel. If you're still watching at this point, I can only assume that you're actually enjoying the content, so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and liking the video to help us grow the series. Also, while I have you real quick, YouTube are running a promo where if you're paying for YouTube Premium, you get 1 free membership to any channel of your choice, kind of like Twitch Prime. So if you fancy a sweet new badge next to your name in the comments, hit me up. Alright, I'm nervous here. We're going in with a fresh deck, a fresh playstyle, and I have no idea how it's going to turn out. First up here, we're against our boy Tim, Z3DT, new Patreon today, and we lose rock, paper, scissors. He chooses to go second, which is always an interesting choice, and looking at our hand, it's pretty good for getting to our standard salad board, but it's not got as much interruption as I would like. The playstyle for this deck is basically to just sit on Sunlight Wolf and keep recurring your interruptions and resources until your opponent just runs out of steam. So I start off with the Circle and search for Gazelle, of course, and normal summon Jaguar linking into Balelynx. With Balelynx as Chainlink 1 and Gazelle as Chainlink 2, we get Gazelle on the board and the field spell to our hand. Now with the second effect of Gazelle, we can dump any Salamangreat card from the deck to the graveyard, and I think in this position our best option is an interruption of some kind. So we're choosing between Rage, which is basically a pop 2, and Roar, which is an Omni Negate, and I think in a blind matchup your best option is to go for the Negate. Obviously it's not going to be doing much in the grave, so we need to add it back to the hand through Sunlight Wolf, so we link both of our monsters into Sunlight Wolf, use the field spell and reincarnate Sunlight Wolf, allowing us to activate its effect to add back a Salamangreat spell or trap. On top of that, when a monster is summoned to its zone, it can also add back a fire monster from your graveyard, so we activate the effect of Jaguar, shuffling back our first Sunlight Wolf into the extra deck to summon itself from the graveyard, triggering Wolf and allowing us to add Gazelle back to our hand. So here is when I activate the effect of Wolf to add back Roar as well, and then with the Jaguar, I'm never actually sure what I'm supposed to do with it. Typically I think you would use it to make Dweller, but obviously we can't do that here, so I just link it into Balelynx for some reason and set Roar and pass turn. Voila! Caesar salad. So this board, give or take 1 or 2 interruptions, is basically all you can really expect from Salamangreat. It's actually pretty easy to play through, but the thing that makes Salamangreat such a good deck is the fact that you have to play through it every turn until you can't play through it anymore, and then you just lose. Our boy Tim here is going to start off with a revolving switchyard, so yes, we're up against trains. He then normal summons a level 10 Knight Express Knight, triggering his switchyard, which we do hit with the Ash. Sets 1 and activates Forbidden Chalice, targeting his own monster, so its effect is no longer applying to itself, and therefore its attack is actually 3000 plus the 400 extra. Swings into Wolf, dealing 1600 damage, but we do protect it with the Balelynx, so it doesn't get destroyed, and he then passes turn. We still have Roar set, so basically we're going to be able to just snowball from here. Reincarnating Sunlight Wolf to the other extra monster zone, we trigger Gazelle, summoning it to Wolf's zone. I was going to add back Ash and dump Rage, but our Wolf gets met with an Impermanence, so the Ash stays in the graveyard. I can, however, just make a third Wolf using the Gazelle to add Rage back to the hand anyway. And now this is where the polar opposite playstyle starts to frustrate me. Our opponent has a 0 attack monster on the board with 0 interruptions, and we have multiple plays. Usually with the decks I normally play, it's easy enough just to get a free OTK in this sort of situation, but I can't find the line of play that does 8000 damage. I think that's what makes Transcode Talker so important to this deck, and unfortunately we don't have it, so I just attack with a bunch of smaller monsters and pass turn with a set Roar and a set Rage. Game 2, we're going first once again, and while we don't have access to Gazelle, we do have access to a variant of your typical salad board with Parallel Exceed, which we will make Tornado Dragon with. We do unfortunately draw the one of Phantazmay, which is basically a dead card against pure trains. I didn't have enough cards to side in versus siding out. But yeah, normal summoning Jaguar gets us to the Balelynx, special summoning Fowl gets us to the Wolf, and Parallel Exceed gets Fowl back to hand and Tornado Dragon on the board. Using the field spell, I reincarnate the Sunlight Wolf so we have fodder for Jaguar next turn and set Solemn Strike before calling it a day. Urgent Schedule is a pretty good card, summoning 2 machines from the deck, allowing him to then summon his Derricrane from the hand. Overlaying for Gustav Max, we of course say no. So he then goes on to summon another Bullet Train from his hand and send the other 2 cards on his field to the grave to attack over Tornado Dragon. Urgent Schedule, of course being a good card, also gets him a search because it was sent to the graveyard, so he adds Malefic Cyber End Dragon. Activating Switchyard and summoning his Malefic to the field, he passes turn. So we're looking at some big boys, and without a power play through Transcode Talker and Access Code Talker, it's a little bit difficult to deal with. Drawing Spinny is a very nice extender that will allow us to make some update jammer plays. Adding Fowl back to hand, I then summon Spinny from the graveyard and reincarnate the Sunlight Wolf so I can then summon Jaguar from the graveyard as well. I see the line of play of update jammer into Borrowload so I can attack and steal both of his monsters, but I get it mixed up in my head and first attack the Malefic Cyber End Dragon with Borrowload, which prevents me from attacking again. If I had attacked the other way around, then I most likely would have won. I don't want his Bullet in the graveyard because during the end phase he can just add back his Pegasus, which would then summon the Bullet back as well. So he's left with a body which he uses to overlay into Gustav Max and into Lieb, and Lieb is all you need. Stick that on a shirt, by the way. Game 3, I actually choose to go second, and I'm met with a set 2 pass. Nice, I'll take it. And we top deck the Cynet Mining for Gazelle. So I start with a Foolish just to bait a possible Ash, which he does have and he does use, allowing me to then Cynet Mining into Gazelle and start making some plays. I feel like my win condition here is to get out Heatleo and shuffle both of his back row into his deck, so that's what I aim for and send Jaguar with Gazelle's effect. Activating Jaguar by shuffling back the Fowl, I summon it to Wolf's zone and attempt to add back Gazelle, but we get met with an Impermanence. Heatleo also gets met with an Impermanence, so I just attack for 23, set Solemn Strike, and pass it over. Oh hey, that's a good card. Once again, he goes for the overlay of Gustav Max. No. So we're able to toss through our salad again, sending Rage off Gazelle's effect and getting to Sunlight Wolf and Heatleo with a set Rage. He top decks Pot of Avarice, must be nice, and is actually able to get to a rank 10. I get punished here by getting greedy and thinking I can just pop the field spell and Lieb with Rage when he summons it. However, I totally forgot that Dora was a card. It can quick effect make a card unaffected by any other card effects, so Rage wouldn't pop it. However, Tim gets punished by blindly activating the effect of Dora, allowing me to chain rage to it and therefore destroy it before it gets the protection. That is enough to take the game and we win our first match. Tim's only been playing for a few months, so I would say he did pretty well considering the fact. Good job, Tim. Good job. Round 2, we're up against Noodle on the heroes, and we win rock, paper, scissors, of course choosing to go first. Nibiru in the main deck is actually very nice in this situation because heroes just don't really put up any negates and hard to lose to it. I'd say we opened a pretty sick hand with a Gozen and a Roar as well. Keep in mind I don't know I'm up against heroes, so with Jaguar alone we're able to get to the Sunlight Wolf by reincarnating the Balelynx. We set our 2 traps, being able to keep Spinny in the hand and pass it over. He starts off by normal summoning Stratos, and the way we navigate his turn is honestly just a huge facepalm. I should have either roared or Gozened here to prevent him from summoning other heroes, but instead I let him get the search to search for Faris, summon Faris, and then flip Gozen, to which he just sends Stratos to the grave and continues with his dark hero plays. Faris gets him to increase, which summons itself, and then on the summon it can summon a hero from the deck, typically Vion, so I roar the increase, hoping that stops him there. If only it was that easy, because down comes Fusion Destiny, and down comes Miracle Fusion to give him a board of Adoration and Dystopia, and I would actually Nibiru at the end of his main phase, but because of Gozen Match I can't even do that. Oh, and I just realized that the summon of Adoration was illegal because Miracle Fusion summons an elemental hero. We don't die this turn, but we can't stop his Malicious Bane on the next turn, so yeah, we lose the first game.
Silence Noodle.
Game 2, once again, I choose to go first, and we open Nibiru again, and Dimensional Barrier, which I sided in so I can call Fusion. With Cynet Mining for Gazelle as well, we should be able to get another interruption by sending Roar or Rage. So with the Cynet, I pitch Jaguar, search for Gazelle, normal summon Spinny, and link into Balelynx, which triggers the Gazelle, and we send Rage. Now we climb up to our wolf, use Jaguar to get Gazelle back to the hand, set our back row, and pass turn. It never looks like much, but it's a pretty damn strong opening. Noodle has the exact same play as the last game where he normals Stratos, searches for Faris, and pitches Mali to summon it from the hand. Continuing from there, he gets to increase in the spell and trap zone, and on the first effect of increase, where he tributes Faris for costs, that's when we hit him with the Rage to clear his board and the D barrier to stop him from following up with a Fusion Destiny and Miracle Fusion again. Vion Pass should be very easy to deal with, like literally just normal summon Gazelle and attack with everything. Would be game if he doesn't have Honest Neos. He didn't search for Honest Neos, so I decide to go for the risk and just attack for game. Turns out he does have it and therefore doesn't die this turn. You know, I could have went for the update jammer into Borreload play to play around the Honest Neos and kill him, but yeah. We do still have Rage and Roar and Nibiru and Phantazmay though, so he's not able to play through all that, and we do eventually kill him 2 or 3 turns later. Game 3, he chooses to go first, and for the 3rd game in a row, we open Nibiru, we slap him with that rock at the end of his main phase, and he crushes us with the token. We should probably be playing something like Nightmare Cerberus to deal with the token since we don't have access code talker, but in this scenario, he sniped our only extender with Dark Law, so even then I still wouldn't be able to get over it. Round 3, we're up against Mr. Avatarzan, and you'll never guess what he's playing. We win rock, paper, scissors and choose to go first, opening Gazelle, which is always nice, giving us access to that Rage or Roar from the deck. I do choose to send the Roar on the effect of Gazelle, and then we end on our board of Sunlight Wolf, Roar with Nibiru in hand if we need it. The Roar instantly gets forced out with a Shaddoll Fusion, allowing him to pretty much just pop off. However, he summons Lieb as his 5th summon, so we drop the Nibiru to wipe his board. On resolution, because Wolf was sent to the graveyard, I summon Gazelle from hand and send Jaguar to the grave. Over to us, I bounce the Gazelle to hand to summon Falco, and then normal summon the Gazelle, sending Rage with the intention of getting Rage and Roar to the field when I reincarnate the Sunlight Wolf. Unfortunately, I forget to activate the Roar, and then on his turn activate Gozen Match with the intention of locking him to lights so he can't do train plays, but at the cost of Tornado Dragon and Nibiru, which I completely forgot about. I'm just bad at the game, man. Leave me alone. So in the battle phase, being forced to Rage away the token, he then gets to Dora, which I just can't deal with and lose the game. Game 2, we're going first and actually open Gazelle once again because we're just that good of a Salamangreat player. So I activate Cynet Mining, pitching the Jaguar, and we do get met with an Ash, but it doesn't really matter that much. Now by normal summoning Gazelle, I send Rage to the graveyard and make our standard salad board and set Burning Draw as well, just as a bluff. Flipping the Rage as soon as he gets to level 10s on the board prevents him from doing anything too threatening. He then crashes his 1800 monster, sets 1 and passes turn. He pays half his life points to Judgment a Heatleo, which puts him very close to death after the battle phase, and yeah, there's really no coming back from this with 2 cards, so we take game 2. Game 3 was like a really fun 25-minute grind game. Our board was able to stop pretty much all of his plays until he drew into Lightning Storm evenly, which cleared my board. He then set up a Dora, which I struggled to get rid of. Just as I'm about to be over it with Zeraboros, he flips Limiter Removal, doubling its attack and therefore winning the battle. But then during the end phase, when it's going to get destroyed by Limiter Removal, he's forced to use its last effect to protect itself, and therefore I can just rage it on the next turn. So we finally get the dub, 2-1. This brings us to our final round today against NKGill96. He wins Rock, Paper, Scissors and chooses to go second, so we've played against all going second decks today, except this time it's True Draco Ancient Warriors. I'm met with no interruption and Cynet Mining for Gazelle, so with Roar in hand we can set up a board of Sunlight Wolf with Rage and Roar. It's a set 1 pass we have to deal with, so in the end phase I just clear that with Rage. Trying to OTK him with my Oogaboo make combo do damage. We get just 300 points of damage away from the kill, and I think he top decks Tenki, which is his only form of play, so when we pop that with Tornado Dragon we're basically just ending his life. Game 2, he actually chooses to go first this time, and we're also met with a set 1 pass. Man, I think he bricked both games. That's just unfortunate. To be fair though, our hand is absolute garbage until we top deck Foolish, where we can just dump Gazelle and then revive it with Will. He does flip a summon limit, so on the effect of Gazelle, I dump Foxy for us to be able to pop that later. We also have Gozen Match to fight Floodgate with Floodgate. This card is actually very strong against True Draco and Ancient Warriors, so it will be an interesting match. After punching for 15, I link into Balelynx and set our 2 traps before passing turn, where he sets 1 once again and throws it back over to us. I top deck a second Will, which is perfect to send for Foxy, so we can pop the summon limit, link into Sunlight Wolf, summon Exceed and activate its effect, overlay into Tornado Dragon, pop his back row, and we're free to do a bunch of damage. I will back the Gazelle, dumping Rage, and punch him down to 1100, giving him 1 last turn to do something, and that something is Tribute Summon Dynamite, get raged, and lose. So we actually went 3-1 with a watered down version of Salads with no explosive potential. Not gonna lie, despite all the misplays, because there was a lot of misplays, I'm pretty impressed. Alright, so in conclusion, in terms of Salamangreat, even though we did go positive, our build had some very obvious flaws. Gabriel's list in the context of a top meta competitive environment makes complete sense. Gozen just basically completely shuts down the likes of Adamancipator and the combo version of Eldelich. In the main deck for us, however, against random ass decks, it really kinda hurt. Not to mention the clear lack of power and inability to deal with big threats because we don't have Transcode Talker. We also didn't resolve Burning Draw once. If it was Desires instead, then we would have been much better off. And saying that, we might actually be able to pick up a playset of rare Desires in Toon Chaos as we search for Chaos Space. Also, if we get super lucky while opening Eternity Code and get Access Code Talker in the search for Gravedigger's Trap Hole, then we might be able to revisit Salamangreat and play a full power build. I also should have played our 1 copy of Pyro Phoenix that we got from Chaos Impact, but it's too late now. So hopefully you enjoyed this Salad episode. We will be going back to Dragons in the next one. Feel free to roast my plays in the comments. Like I said, I'm a combo player, not a control player, so it was just mind-boggling that I couldn't just OTK big damage. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one on Thursday. Do svidania.
Slow down. Fireplace, do you